loud. Okay, we'll just give it about another 30 seconds to let anybody else filter in.
Welcome, everybody. I'll turn my camera back on after the presentation. Sometimes it causes a lag, so just want to put that out there for everyone.
All right, Joanne, I don't see anybody else coming in through the waiting room, so why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Sounds good. Thank you, Amanda. All right, and thank you everybody for joining us today. We're gonna talk about the Agricultural Workforce Development Program. I am Joanne Hernandez. I am the program manager for this grant, and joining me is Amanda Laban, our New Markets Division Director.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
All right, so we'll go ahead and just take a quick look at the agenda today. We're going to talk about the program, some updates, rules and requirements. We'll then talk about how to apply. We'll talk about the business application versus the intern application and take a look at what the business application looks like. We'll go over some highlights for the scheduling for the program for 2024. And then I'll share some resources. And at the end, we'll have a time for some Q&A. If you have questions beforehand, you can either enter them in the chat or raise your hand. But if you can hold questions till the end, we will hold some time to get those questions answered. All right, we'll start with about the Agricultural Workforce Development Program. Many people who I see on the registration list are likely familiar, but I wanted to talk about the program for those who may not be aware. But the Agricultural Workforce Development Program provides financial incentives to farms, ranches, and agricultural businesses to hire interns and provide them with hands-on training through quality internship opportunities needed to begin a career in agriculture. So that is the focus of the program. It was started in 2018 through a Senate bill. I can't recall the number at the moment, but it's all on our website. But it was authorized in 2018 and it's been running since. Through that original bill, the program was set to sunset this July 1st, 2024. However, during the 2023 General Assembly, there were some updates to the program, and that one is through House Bill 1094, if anybody's interested in reading that over, also on the website. But basically, the two changes that stood out from this last General Assembly was the extension of the overall program. So the program has been extended through July 1st of 2029. And the other change is the duration of internships. For those familiar, an internship previously could be up to 6 months in duration. That was changed to now extend up to 1 year. So internships can run anywhere from 130 hours up to 1 year. Those are the new changes there for the program. All right, so that was just some high-level details on the program that I wanted to share. Again, most people are familiar, but that's just basically how the program got founded and where we're at currently. There are some rules and requirements surrounding this grant program that I wanted to share just to make sure that everybody is aware. So the program really is looking for internship opportunities that are going to really help the next generation get a start in Colorado agriculture. As many people know in ag, that the average age of a farmer is in the higher 50s. So sharing the knowledge and skills to the next generation is a critical piece of getting the next generation interested in agriculture and getting them set off on a good path to start a career in agriculture. Internships aren't just out in the field, although that's a great experience. They can also be related to marketing, food safety, all these areas here. So it's not just limited to one part of agriculture. It's basically all areas. So where you can teach the next generation, whether it's out in the field, if it's business, if it's focused on forestry, focused on crop production. These are all areas that we are looking to find quality internship opportunities for. I just wanted to mention that this is a reimbursement grant. That means that you're going to be reimbursed for the expenses that it cost for the internship. So you can get up to 50% of the actual cost to the business to employ the intern. At least 75% of the reimbursement shall be paid to the intern, and there is a $5,000 max award per internship. So I just want to put that out there that you would have to spend the money and then submit an invoice to us for reimbursement, and that's going to include some admin pieces such as tracking timesheets and sharing those with us, any pay stubs related to what the intern was paid. You can have some costs like PPE, if there's any special tools, and that can be reimbursed as well. So again, you have to submit a reimbursement to get the funding, and you have to spend it on the internship and expenses prior to submitting that request. You can have up to 3 interns annually per business, and that's per year. So you can get $5,000 per internship, and that's the internship versus intern is separate. So essentially, you can have up to $15,000 in incentives for the program if you have 3 interns and spend a minimum of $30,000 to get 50% of that reimbursed. So if there's any questions about that, we can talk more in depth, but I just wanted to give a high-level overview that this is a reimbursement grant and make sure everybody's aware of that. Just some details on the internship opportunities. One of the key pieces we want to focus is quality educational experience, quality internship, and really offering an opportunity where you're able to teach and show the intern the parts of the business and agriculture that you work with. So quality is key there. As I mentioned previously, they should be a minimum of 130 hours for an internship, up to a year in duration. So it could be anywhere in between that. You don't have to go the full year, but should you be looking for an internship to last that, you now have the option to go 1 year in duration. Just some key parts too for the internship opportunities that you'll want to know is that you must provide workers' compensation insurance for the intern. It cannot be a current or past employee, and it cannot be a relative of the owner operator of the participating business. So those are some important details about the program. There are more program rules and requirements if you're not familiar on the webpage, and I'll show you where to find those if you want to look more to make sure that you are eligible. This is just a short list. There are some of the requirements that are listed. Okay, so how do I apply for funding? So there's a couple steps that happens here. So you may have seen on the webpage, because that's where you're gonna find the application, that there's a business application and an intern application. So how it works is the business first applies for funding for their internship. And then what happens is those who are awarded will then have their interns submit an application. So we'll start with the business application that is geared towards getting funding for your internship. And a reminder that the closing period for this application is 5 p.m. on January 5th of 2024. And we're going to send out notifications mid-February to everybody who has applied and let you know if your internship was awarded or not awarded. And then I'm going to share my screen so we could take a look at the webpage. Give me just a brief moment here. All right. And Amanda, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see the webpage? Okay, thank you so much. All right, so this is going to be a really great resource where all the other resources are housed. If you're unable to reach me and you have a question, you might be able to find it here sooner. If not, I'll share my contact information and ways you can reach me if your questions aren't answered, and I'd be happy to help you. So this webpage is where you're going to find the updated information and applications for applying. There's 2 links where you can apply. If you can see me circling here, I don't know if it's showing, but under business applications are open, there's a hyperlink that will take you to the Google form, or you can click this green box here. And then when you click on that, it's going to take you to our Google form. And Amanda, is it showing the Google form? Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to show what it looks like on this first page. It won't let us continue without submitting information. So I did download the PDF of what the application looks like to point out a couple things. I will get it linked on the webpage so that you have access to the PDF version as well. So let's see. And Amanda, is it showing the PDF? No, okay.
No, it's not.
Okay, give me 1 second here.
Now it is.
Now it is, okay, perfect. So it's gonna look similar to this. The questions are all the same, just the format's a little different because this is just the PDF printout of that form. So we'll just walk through a couple of things that I want to highlight for the application to be aware of. So it's gonna ask some business information, and I'm gonna scroll down here. I'm gonna keep going. All right, let's see. All right, so let me back up a little bit and say that if you are planning on having multiple interns up to 3, you will need an application for each of those internship opportunities. So if you're gonna have 2 interns, you must submit 2 applications. If you're gonna have 3, you must submit 3 applications. If you're just gonna have the 1 intern, go ahead and just submit the 1. And what that does is it marks your place for that internship spot. So 1 for each intern that you'll have, up to 3. And here in question 18 is a question about the internship job description. So what we're looking for is for you to provide us some high-level details on what that job description is going to look like. There's a link here that will take you to an example of what that would look like. But basically, you'll be the one to search for the intern and you'll post it like a regular job. And this is just an example of what the internship job description could look like. But what we're really looking for is what are the details about the internship that our review committee is going to be able to look at and say, this is a really good quality internship. So make sure in the internship job description, you're providing a good high-level overview of what that's going to be, because this is going to be something really looked at for consideration. And there's a start and end date. These don't have to be exact. This is just going to be an estimate, and this is going to help us determine when your internship is going to occur and then when we would need to get any contracting done. So this is going to help us, and it doesn't have to be set in stone. We can have some flexibility, but once we get it in the contract, that's going to be the start and end date that we're going to want to focus on. This is just giving us an idea of what your internship looks like and the start and end dates to kind of help us understand too what that would look like when the program is in swing should you be awarded, and lets us know different steps that we would need to take. So this is really helpful, providing us that information. And question number 23 here. This one, we're getting a few different versions, but what we're looking for is basically what is an itemized breakdown of your estimated budget. And here's a link here, and we'll go through that really quickly. Just 1 sec.
You might have to highlight a new screen. There we go.
Did it go? Okay, perfect. Yep. All right, so this is just an example. This is what we're looking for. We're looking to see how much you're going to be paying an hour, how many hours you're anticipating, what's the cost, what are the other costs associated. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. This is just an example to help you see what we're looking for. So what we're seeing in this budget breakdown is how much you're estimating that you're going to spend on the internship. And since you can get up to 50% with the 5,000 max, say you put on this that your total is going to be $5,000. That means an award amount would be $2,500. So you want to make sure that you're going to have the correct amount here, because this is what we're going to go off of, is this budget example. So whatever you provide here is going to be an indicator of what your internship is awarded. If you put, some people may have higher costs, like say they're planning on spending $20,000, they would still break it down here, but we're still only able to award the $5,000 maximum. So we would just automatically go to 5,000. If you're going to spend 10,000, that would also be 5,000, but it would have to be shown in this budget example to let us know how much you are requesting in funding should you be awarded. So I just wanted to walk through that really quickly. And this is all available either through the application, and you can also find this on the webpage if you need to look at it later or want to use it as an example. It doesn't have to be complex. It could just be these simple, rows and columns. And that's what we're looking for, is just to see those numbers. Right. Give me 1 second. I'll go back to my presentation. Okay, so that's the business application. You'll complete that to apply for your internship opportunity to be funded. And as I mentioned, if you are awarded, there will be an internship application required, which will also be on that same webpage. And there will be a link, and it will also be a Google form. And it's just asking some information from the interns so we can get them linked to your internship opportunity and make sure that we're aware of what to look for down the road with surveys and such, which we'll cover. But just to mention here, as you can see on the slides, that if anybody is interested in internship, generally we're directing them to reach out to the business. So there is a possibility that your business name and county will be shared publicly for people to contact. We do have some interns that reach out, and I will try to connect those interns with interest to the business. But once we connect, we step aside, and then you would onboard them or hire them if you wish to. But we don't get a lot of interns requesting businesses, but we have had some. And if we do get those inquiries, I'll do my best to reach out if you're still looking for an intern, should you be awarded. And as you see here, once an intern applicant has secured a position with the business that was awarded, that's when they'll need to complete the intern application. And if you've got multiple interns, just like the business application, each intern will need their own intern application. And on this, they also provide us their email information and their surveys, which we could talk about here in a moment. We just want to make sure we have the best contact information, so we can also keep demographics and data here on our end to see how effective the program is. So just make sure if you are awarded that you're having your interns complete an application. And if you have questions after you're awarded, should you receive awarding funding, then I will actually host an onboarding session to make sure that everything else is clear. Once you're awarded, this is just some information so you understand how the program functions. All right, so this is the anticipated schedule for 2024's Agricultural Workforce Development Program. So beginning with the application period that opened November 30th, and that's going to run through January 5th by 5 p.m. So applications must be in by 5 p.m. on that date. Then there's going to be a review period. That's going to happen January 8th through February 5th. And this is where a review committee looks at your applications and they review them and make recommendations. From the review period, it goes to the recommendations being reviewed. That's where the Commissioner of Ag will look at those and just pretty much take a look at those selected, and we get an idea of counties, locations, and all the highlights of what the award or the recommended awardees look like. Then what happens from there, I'm anticipating February 16th notices to be sent out. This is an anticipation that we're going to get more applications from last year. It was very competitive last year. So if we see that trend, I wanted to make sure that there was enough time built in so we can get everything worked on. Should for some reason there be less applications than last year, then these notices could be sent out prior. This is just adding some extra time should we get more applications than we did last year. Then what happens after notices get sent out, that's when that internship application opens and will be available for your interns to fill out as you get those positions secured. Then from there, we'll work on contracting. I put from February 16th to March 1st. That's basically contingent on us getting all the information we need from you, basically just onboarding documents. If you're going to do electronic funds transfers for payment, this is where we'd collect all that information and make sure that we're all on the same page with start dates, funding amounts, and we'll get all those details worked on. Should there be any delays in that contracting piece, that could extend this period, but ideally, the sooner we can get all that worked out, the sooner we'll be able to get the internship started. And that's really where the internships begin. It's contingent on the contract start date. So if you're, applying now, but your internship isn't going to start till February, or excuse me, till like January, that's right, July or like summer. So if you're going to have a late starting internship, that gives us more time to work on it. But if you're going to have one start a little bit sooner, we'll definitely want to get started on the documentation and getting things moving a lot quicker. So it really depends on what you put in that in the application on the start date and how fast we'll get working towards those. If there is some lead time, I'm still going to work my best to get those done right away and not wait until it's closer to that time. So then that way we have everything lined up for you to get things started. And as I mentioned, those awarded, we'll do another session to kind of walk through what the expectations are and the requirements are for the program at that time. All right, and as I mentioned too, the webpage is going to be a really good resource if you're looking for information about the program. You'll find the program rules, you'll find the applications, you'll find the bills that authorize the program, and some other helpful tools should you need them. And I hope that wasn't too quickly. That was a lot of information in a short time, but I think now would be a good time to ask any questions. I just want to leave this slide up for a little bit for those not familiar. If you need to ask any questions about the program, you can reach me directly here at joanne.hernandez@state.co.us. Or if you send it to cda_AWD@state.co.us, that's going to go to the program inbox. So should I be out or unable to get to your message, somebody looking at the inbox may be able to get to it too. So you could reach the program through these two emails. Either one works for me. They'll both come to me. So just don't hesitate if there's any questions or any support I can offer to just reach out. And Amanda, did we have any chat come through? No chat?
No chat questions, no.
All right. Well, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask about the program? Anybody who's been a part of the program want to share their experience or have any comments on the program? Hi,
Hi,
Susan.
Sue. Yeah, go
Hi,
ahead.
so one, I'll say comments on the program. I actually had interns through this program for a couple of years. It was a fantastic opportunity to get some. I usually got college age students and they were so eager to learn. So it worked really well for our farm. And then I do have a question. The way our workflow is structured, we would like to apply for 2 internships, one for spring through summer, which is more planting and initial harvesting, and then one that goes from late summer into fall. And I think that fits our workforce in this area pretty well. What happens if we apply for 2 internships with that kind of timing, and then we only receive one? Is there some flexibility so that we could, how would that work if we think we want our labor structured with 2 contiguous, with 2 internships back to back and we only get one? What would we do there?
Yeah, no, really great question. Thank you for asking that. I would say that in my past year when I did this, if you're going to apply for multiple internships, that's going to be looked at for the review team. It's not a guarantee, but there's a good possibility that if you are applying for multiples and you get awarded, you'll likely get awarded for all 3. Or all 2 for both of them if you're applying. So it really just depends. But if you've got a really good application where the internship looks, phenomenal, and this looks like a great opportunity, our reviewers are going to select it. And so what we'll usually do is make sure that you're awarded for both, as long as the review committee doesn't see any issues. And generally, what I seen last time was that they're brought up together and they're usually not separated unless there was like major funding issues. But generally, if you're awarded, they're looking at the bulk of your intern application or your business applications for multiple interns.
And
Thank you.
Sue, I'll just add to that, say you got awarded for both, but you only found an intern for one of the sessions. If that intern was willing to expand over both those time periods, we could update the contract in that way. So say, you had someone slated for the spring into the summer, and then you had someone for the fall, but they ended up dropping off, and that first intern wanted and could continue on through the fall, we could adjust, your contract in that way. Just to say that there is some flexibility within, how we structure those contracts.
Good
Yeah.
to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
we'll work closely on that detail too. So when those businesses who are awarded, I'll make sure that it's lined up and making sure that I understood that we understood the applications correctly, that these are the start dates. This is what the whole internship looks like, even if it's split up between 2 internships in 2 different durations. But we'll work with you, and any changes. We've seen also folks where they couldn't find an intern, and so they letting us know sooner than we can award someone else, or if you have time to onboard somebody. So as Amanda said, there is a lot of flexibility. We just need to be aware and making sure we're, notified, and that we can help work with you to make sure that gets put in place.
Hey, I'm going to read the question in the chat, Joanne. I'm not sure if you can see it, but Jeff is asking if it matters whether you're paying interns on a W-2 or a 1099 form.
It was my understanding that it should be a W-2 type with minimum wage requirements for the state's prevailing minimum wage. I haven't seen anything else that's specific. Would you be paying a 1099 intern? Who was asking the question?
Jeff Wagner was asking. So Jeff, I don't know if you can, come on.
Yeah, we've just been paying a lot of people like part-time help on 1099 forms, and we still have workers' comp for them. So I was just curious because we currently, that's like our main payroll processing. And so it would mean a shift in how we're processing a lot of our payroll.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we can look into that, Jeff. I think, the big thing with the 1099 is that the person has to have flexibility for their hours. It's considered a contract. And so, that's, we're not checking that as much as the IRS is, and we are getting some money through the Department of Labor. And so it just might raise a red flag, but we can certainly look into it. It's just supposed to be like with 1099's contract work, that they're setting their own hours. And so, yeah, that's the one thing that comes to mind in my mind. Joanne, did you have anything?
I think it goes to the reimbursement grant piece, is that and we'll get a confirmed answer for you, but basically you're going to still want to document timesheets. So they're treated very much like employees, because we need to see the timesheets, the payroll, and related expenses. So that's still going to be a requirement, but let us double check, Jeff, and I'll make sure to get back to you this week with a solid answer on that.
Okay, yeah, and we'd be looking for like part-time interns, not necessarily full-time interns.
Okay, that's fine. We see a range from 20 hours a week to 40 hours a week. The key thing is that the whole internship in duration is no less than 130 hours. So as long as it's, if it's even 5 hours a week, as long as it gets to the 130, no less, then you'll be good.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna check, your message came in as a direct message, so if you don't want me to read it, I don't have to, and I can follow up with you separately. But I will just say that we can get those resources to you, especially we have an ag worker services program, and that program can help with some of the requests about resources to paying those additional costs. So hopefully,
and Susan, I see your question here. No, your hourly wage, what you're paying, is not necessarily considered as a factor for selection. That helps us know more about the program and what it's attracting. But no, your hourly rate, as long as it's over the state minimum wage, that's all that matters. You don't get knocked down for paying less. Any others with questions, comments?
I'm not seeing anything else in the chat.
Does everybody feel comfortable with the application? Are there any questions surrounding applying, or has anybody run into technical issues that we can offer some support with? Well, if that changes and any questions come up, you know how to reach me. Email me anytime or visit our website for resources. But if I can answer anything, just reach out.
And Chuck, I'll just ask for you to put your email or contact information in the chat. And I will get that over to Aldo. Great. I'll send that information to Aldo and or give you his information so that you can ask him directly with the Ag Worker Services Program.
All right, well, there's no questions. We can end early, I guess.
Yeah, we can go ahead and stop the recording, and we'll keep the Zoom open for another minute. But yeah, go ahead, Sue.
I guess I do have a few questions about, you've emphasized that it be a quality internship program. It's clearly, we don't want to just hire people that are going to come, pull weeds or drive a tractor for 10 hours a day or something. But can you, and I know that there must be some examples on the website, but can you maybe verbally talk about what you perceive a quality internship program to be?
And I think it goes back to what you just said, pulling weeds. We have had some feedback where the intern was just sent out to pull weeds, and that's not going to make a huge impact on the next generation, just getting thrown out there to pull weeds. So we understand that, there's hard work involved, and that's quality internship. It's the teaching experience and the ability to supervise and really show the intern the parts of the business that you want to share with that internship opportunity. So it's really just taking the time, and I know it's difficult because it's costly in some cases, but just really showing the interns a quality experience that gives them a good idea what it would take to start a career in agriculture, and really give them some of the foundational pieces should they want to pursue a career in agriculture, that they've got a good understanding. And I know some instances it's not going to be perfect, but just making an effort at the teaching piece and the educational piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Brianna, Joanne is going to link that PDF to the website so that you can see all the questions before going through the Google form. So there's a snapshot of it here in the earlier, slides or the earlier recording of this presentation, but she's also going to link it to the website.
Yes, and I'll also add a link in the application too. So should you not be able to find it on the website quickly, when you open the app, I'll have a hyperlink in there later today that has a quick reference. And I did want to mention too, you can copy paste or type in your text for your budgets or your job description. It will take a large amount of text, but should you want to email it separate in a separate document, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could send it to me and I'll attach it for our reviewers. Or if you know how to do a hyperlink, you can just copy paste the hyperlink in that question that will take the reviewer to your budget or your job description. So should you have any other attachments you want to provide, it's not required. But if that's how you want to submit, just send it to me and I'll get it attached to your application for our reviewers.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording for real right now. And just feel free to reach out to Joanne if you have any other questions. And we'll get those answered. But we appreciate you guys being on the call today. And feel free to spread the word to other farms and ranches that that might be interested in having an intern this year.